In chapter 4, it is about Cain and Abel. And it begins in verse 1. Adam the egno evan tin gineka av tu. And Adam knew Eve, his wife. Knowing is used many places for having sexual intercourse. It uses that word. Ke silavusa, and conceiving. Etikaton Cain, she bore Cain. Ke ipen, and said, Ektisamin anthropon dia tu theou. I acquired a man through God. These are all derivatives. Anthropology for 444, theology for 23:16. Verse 2, Ke prosetheto tekin ton adelphon af tu. We'll underline that one's a new one. His brother, Adelphon, we have the city of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, the Adelphia part of it. She added to bear his brother Ton Abel, Abel. Ke ageneto Abel pimin provaton, and Abel became a shepherd of sheep. Cain they in ergazomenos tingin, but Cain was working the land, either a farmer or a gatherer. In verse 3, Ke ageneto methimeris, came to pass after some days, Enika Cain apo ton carpon tis gis thesian to kirio. Cain brought from the fruits of the land a sacrifice to the Lord. So there was sacrifices at this early period of time, even though the Mosaic laws had not been developed. In verse 4, Ke avel enika ke aftos, apo ton prototokon, ton provaton, af tu. And Abel also brought from the firstborn of his sheep. He didn't bring the old dying sheep, but he bought the firstborn. His heart was to do the right thing, because a lot of people end up giving all their junk to God, to the church, old chairs and cars and things like that. But he gave him the firstborn. Ke apoton stiaton af tu, and from his fatlings, the most valuable, the small fatlings. Ke api then, O theos, api avel, ke apitis doris af tu. And God looked upon Abel and upon his gifts. Epi they Cain, ke apites thesies af tu, u proseske. But upon Cain and upon his sacrifices, he did not take heed. So God was happy and accepted the gifts of the firstborn, but not the ones from Cain. A lot of people have things because there was meat and the other one was vegetable, then the meat was more important than the vegetable, and so forth. But I think it was the heart of the giver, especially in this early time. There wasn't an in-between. There wasn't a priesthood. Ke elipise ton Cain lian, and Cain fretted exceedingly. Cain sinepise to prosopo, and became downcast in the face. Verse 6, Ke ipe kyrios o theos to Cain, inati perilipos eganu. And the Lord God said to Cain, Kyrios, why are you dejected? Ke inati sinepise to prosopon su. And why is your face downcast? And then he goes on and explains why Cain is like he is. Uk an orthos prosenenkis, if not rightly you brought, orthos they, me the Elis, but not rightly divided, imartes, you sin. Here's the first mention of sinning, condition. So if you didn't bring it rightly, you sinned, even though there may be even a better sacrifice. If you're not bringing it in the right frame, then you sinned. Isi kason prose, apostrophe av2. Be still. To you shall be his submission. KC arxis av2, and you will control him. I think what it's saying here is that I may be wrong here, but you're going to be under his submission in the people following you, but you will control him. I believe it's referring to as he's going to kill him. For ipe Cain pros Avel ton adelphon av 2. And Cain said to Abel, his adelphon, his brother, Thielomen isto pedion. Let us go into the plain. Ke ageneto into ine av 2 into pedio. And it came to pass in their being in the plain, Anesti Cain epi Avel ton adelphon av 2. Cain rose up against his brother, Ke apektanin av ton, and killed him. Ke ipe Kyrios o Theos pros Cain. And the Lord God said to Cain, Pu estin Avel o adelphos su. Where is your brother Abel? Ke ipen gnosko. I do not know. The Gnostics, the knowers, I do not know. Mi philax ton adelphu mu. Emi ego. This could be a question mark right here, as well as a period. Am I the keeper of my brother? No. Or I am not the keeper of my brother. In 4:10, Ke ipe Kyrios ti papikas. And the Lord said, What did you do? Phoni imatos to adelphos su voa pros me ectis gis. The voice, we had that earlier, sound, phone. The blood, imatos, we have a hemoglobin, and hemophiliac has to do with blood, and those are derivatives. Of your brother yells to me from the gi, the earth, the geology, the derivative. So let's underline this one here. Verse 11, Kenin epikataratos si apo tis gis I echane to stoma av tis dexate dexaste to ima to adelphos su ek tis heros su. And now, cursed are you from the earth which gaped wide her stoma. We have stomata, stomatic, doing pertaining to the mouth. To take or receive the blood, ima, of your brother from your hand, the chiropractor, heros. There's a derivative. Verse 12. Ote erga tin gin ke u prosthesi tin iskin aftis dune si. When you work the ground, and it does not add to give her strength to you, stenon ke tremon esi epi tis gis. And it does not add to give her strength to you, then in moaning and trembling you will be upon the earth. So this curse to Cain. Verse 13 says, Ke ipe Cain pros Kyrion, mizon I itiamu tu aphenthine me. And Cain said to the Lord, My fault is too great to forgive me. And so much we feel when we have sinned that there is no forgiveness. But yet, with Jesus, there is forgiveness if we humble ourselves and come to Him and have a broken and contrite heart. It's just a lie of Satan and something that we think that, and it's a lie from the evil one, actually. And it continues, E ekvalis me simeron apo prosopu tis gis. If you cast me today from the face of the earth, ke apo tu prosopu su, and from your face, krivi some I will hide. Crypto is cryptic is a derivative. Ke esome stenon, ke tremon epitis gis, and I will be moaning and trembling upon the earth, as God said. Ke este pas o evriskon me apokatine me, and it will be all the ones finding me. Eureka, I found it is a derivative, eureka, and finding. And the ones finding me will kill me. Verse 15, Ke ipen avto Kyrios o theos, and the Lord God said to him, Uk uto, not so. Pas o apokatinas kain, epta ek dikumena para lisi. So here Cain is saying that all the ones finding him will kill me. So this shows that there were other people on the earth at the time, because he wouldn't be worrying about anybody finding him unless he was thinking about the far future, which I don't see that as a possibility, because how would he know what was going to happen as far as population? So it seems to me that there were other people or beings on the earth at the time. It does talk about giants, and a little bit later we'll go into that. Then 15, Ke ipen avto Kyrios o theos uxo, all the ones killing Cain 7 times will be disabled by punishing. Ke etheto Kyrios o theos Simeon to Cain, and the Lord God put a sign to Cain. It doesn't say on Cain. If it was on him, it would be a sign to Cain. And exactly what that means, I'm not exactly sure, but he did do that. To me anelin afton, pantaton evriskonta afton. For all finding him, 1, 2, and 3, to not do away with him. So all finding him. So there were other people. Verse 16, Exilthe they Cain apoprosoputu theu. And Cain went forth from the face of God. Ke okisen en gi naid. And he lived in the land of Nod. Katenanti Eden. Over against Eden. The Greek pronunciation and the English pronunciation may not agree, but I went with the English because people are familiar with English names. Otherwise, it would be almost indecipherable what places are talking about. Where's Naid? But it's Nod in the King James. And verse 17, Ke egno Cain tin gineka av tu. There's that knowing again for intercourse. Ke silavusa, and she conceiving etika ton Enoch, and she bore Enoch. Ke in ikodomon polin. He was building a city. Ke eponomase tin polin epi to onomati to iu avtu Enoch. And he named the city after the name of his son, Enoch. 4:18. Eganithi they to Enoch gaidad. Now we're going into these eganithi, procreating. I notice I have right here the first one is born to Enoch, or procreated. This is in the passive though, so could be was procreated to Enoch. Irad, gaidad, ke gaidad, agenese ton, mail, mahujael, okay, mahujael. I'm just going to read the English here. Procreated Methuselah. And Methuselah procreated Lamech. Well, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll read both. Ke Mael egenese ton Methuselah. Ke Methuselah egenese ton Lamech. Verse 19. Ke eleve iavto Lamech theo Ginecus. So Enoch was building a city. And, of course, cities takes people. And so all these people were being born. Onoma ti mia adha, ke onoma ti devtera Sela. The name of the second was Zillah. Verse 20. Ke etaken ada ton iovil, utos in patir ikunton in skines. And this one was the father of the ones living in tents. I don't know what they were living in before. It could have been caves or whatever. But here they started making tents, and generally they were with leather from the animal skins. Ketino trophone, grazing cattle, which would be the which would be from where the skins came from. 421. Ke onomato adelpho aftu iuval. Again, Adelpho. We have Adelphia, Philadelphia, city of brotherly love. That word. Utos in o katakdixas psalterion ke kitharon. The psaltery and the harp. There's a psaltery that is made today, but it actually wasn't actually designed until the 1930s. It looks like a little coffin. It has strings going down both sides. A beautiful little instrument. It was named after the psaltery, but it's not the same thing. 422. Sela the ke afti etika ton thovel. But Zillah also herself bore Tubal-Cain. Ke in Spherokopos Halkefs. He was a hammersmith, brazier, Halkefs. We have the Chalcolithic, the Bronze Age, so he worked in bronze. Halku, of brass or bronze. Ke Sithiru, and iron. Thelphi they, Thovel, Noema, and the sister of Tubal-Cain was Nama. In verse 23, Ipe they Lamech, te siaftu ginexin. And Lamech said to his own wives, Ada ke Selah. Ada and Selah, his two wives. This is the first instance of polygamy in the Bible. And he says, Akusa temu tis phonis ginekas Lamech. Hear my voice, or O wives of Lamech. Enotisas themu tus logus, and give ear to my words. Oti andra apectina is travma emi, for I killed a man for giving a wound to me. Travma, we have the English derivative, a trauma, some type of a wound to the body. Ke nianiskon is molapa emi, and a young man for giving a stripe to me. Now, exactly what he's talking about here, I'm not exactly sure, but it says what it says, that he apparently killed somebody for striking him, and it was a young man. Verse 24, Oti eptakis ek dedikite ek Cain, for punishment 7 times is for Cain. Ek the Lamech ebdomikontakis epta, but for Lamech 70 times 7. Now why he thought he deserved that much more punishment, I don't know, but he did apparently have remorse for doing this. In verse 25, Egno de Adam Evan tin gineka av tu, and Adam knew Eve his wife, and again that knew for intercourse. Ke silavusa etakan ion, and conceiving she bore a son. Ke eponoma se to onoma av tu. You can see the onoma right in here. Onoma, naming, is a verb, naming his name. Seth, saying, Seth, and Seth in Luke 3:38, we see is in the lineage of Jesus. And saying, exanestase gar me o theos sperma eteron anti aval. And for God raised up to me another seed instead of Abel, so whom Cain killed, on apek tene Cain. And then for 26 it continues, ke to Seth ageneto Eos, and to Seth was born a son. Eponoma se they to onoma avtu Enos, and again in Luke 3:38, Enos is mentioned. Utos elpison epikaliste to onoma Kyriou tu theou. This one hoped to call upon the name of the Lord God. So the Tetragrammaton in the Hebrew with the English equivalents YHWH, or Yahweh, Jehovah, it says here is that the name. Some people consider it a title, and but it says it's the name of the Lord. Then, like I mentioned before, why they translators 350 BC decided to translate the Hebrew into the Greek Kyriou, I don't know, but they did, and that's what was carried on into the New Testament. Then when it talks about the Lord, it's the same Kyriou. But in the Hebrew Old Testament, they have the Tetragrammaton, the 4 letters, which is apparently the name of God. So this ends the 4th chapter of the book of Genesis, and we hope you'll join us for the 5th chapter. God bless.